L2 is the most difficult one. Do you agree with that?
I disagree with the word difficult being used in CFA.
What do you think India specifically, how much value CFA as a course hold?
I think the value is there, but what students need to realize is that
Why you should do CFA?
I would say three answers are possible there.
How do you see this industry evolving over next, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
It's essentially a data-oriented field.
Yes.
So the more data it has, the better it will become over time.
Can't we master financial modeling in 3 hours? I've seen ads.
Any course being done in 3 hours, that is...
Why you chose CFA?
I was only interested in stock market, valuations and stuff. That was my only interest.
Is there anything you would have done differently? Any mistake?
My mistake was that
What do you find different about QuintEdge in comparison to other institutes?
I think firstly, like what sets QuintEdge apart would be
Hello everyone, welcome to the ROI show by QuintEdge. This is CA FRM Jain, and today we have industry veteran Shubham Goyat sir with us. He have been training for all three levels of CFA for last 10 years now. Whatever years of experience he have gathered, I've tried to extract all the knowledge from that years of experience and tried to serve you in this 1 hour of podcast. In this video, I've asked him very fundamental questions like why he pursued CFA. What should a candidate keep in mind while he is deciding how to make his career in finance? What are the course and other options available to him to make career in finance? And how CFA makes them stand apart in comparison to other courses. Along with this, I have also discussed how finance as an industry is evolving in India as well as globally. How CFA curriculum helps you to learn about finance industry. And what are the lacunas or lackings in CFA curriculum, the additional skills that a candidate should learn in order to be industry ready. Is AI going to take away your job, or is it going to give CFAs more power? Is it going to help CFAs to make better investment decision? And finally, I've asked him what was his motivation to become a teacher. What is his reason why he teaches? Right? So I've discussed so many details in this particular podcast. It is going to be a knowledge-packed podcast. So let us get started with the ROI show. Firstly, sir, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Okay. Sir, I want to start this discussion with, what was your thought process back in the days when you started with CFA program? Just also help the audience to know you better, because I think the introduction that I have given, it's very small in comparison to what you can tell about yourself.
So, see, after school, I took up first thing as CA because at that time, there was some change happening with the college graduation that the graduation became for 4 years. So I thought for 4 years, instead of doing graduation, I might as well spend time and do CA in that time. So I started originally with CA, but then halfway through the course, I felt like my interest was more in the markets.
Okay.
More in the finance side of things. I think CA becomes more compliance related.
Yeah.
I wanted more like investment side of things. So like my father is CA. So he introduced me to this course. He said, this is one option that would be good.
Okay.
So at that point, I started with level 1. I actually started almost 2 years before at that time institute used to allow me to sit for the exam.
Oh.
So at that time institute said you had to do graduation.
Yes.
So because I had decided to do CA, there was no graduation in my CV.
Right.
So then I did graduation from IGNU just for the sake of it. And I took classes, and at that time faculties used to laugh that you're giving exam in 2 years, why are you coming here to study? But it's just that I felt the world of finance, it's very dynamic.
Yes.
Like right now also we see market movements and stuff. There's always something new. There's a little like challenge that how you're going to interpret all this information. So I think that sort of level of uncertainty, I feel like that is quite intriguing. I like that there is something left for me to interpret.
Okay. So you're talking about this is around which year?
This would be, I think, 2014-15. I had just cleared my CA Inter in 2014. And after that, I started with the level 1 prep.
Okay.
My level 1 exam was in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like it has been more than 10 years you have been training,
Yeah.
right? So like almost similar to you, I have similar story. Like what I also started with CA, lost interest into audit, taxation, etc. And then like actually this happens with a lot of people, right? Like a lot of people who are pursuing CA, they don't like they end up having interest into taxation, audit, accounting, but they don't take a step to move to some other course.
Yeah.
They say, okay, I have came so far in CA, and CA is already well established course in India, so I don't think I'll need anything else.
Yeah.
And then I also did my graduation from IGNOU. But that really helped. That gave me time to study CA with CFA.
Yeah.
Okay, great, sir. Sir, you said your father is a chartered accountant.
Yes.
So, like, his practice is into, like, he's practicing or he's
No,
working?
he's in service.
Okay, he's in
Yeah.
service. Okay. Because my inspiration also came from a very close relative, chartered accountant, working in finance field. And then, like, when I was doing my CA, he told me just come and maybe help me in my office work.
Yeah.
And he was mostly doing finance related work, so that also helped me. Okay, great, sir. Sir, after 2016, when you like wrote your CFA level 1 exams, like during that period or before that you started teaching, like how has been the journey?
So I think till I did CFA level 2, I was doing a little bit of teaching on the side. Mainly it was a tutoring service for some graduation, post-graduation students in US. It was mainly to like have some side income with the studies.
Okay.
So till that time, I wasn't specifically teaching CFA students.
Okay.
It was just finance students
Okay.
because I had studied a lot in CFA and CA. So graduation or post-graduation is something, it was easy to handle in terms of queries and stuff.
Okay.
So it used to be like one-on-one online tutoring session. And that also gave me a habit of waking up at 4 in the morning because I had to be online for US students.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So from that point onwards, like I would just wake up for 6 hours, log in case there are any queries and stuff.
Okay, great, sir. So, sir, like you started with L1, then you moved to L2. Now, like we are in 2025, you have years of experience. I also have some experience into teaching. How do you see this industry evolving over next, let's say, 5 to 10 years? One is the finance world because of AI and like a lot of tools coming in to make analysis better. And how do you see this CFA course evolving in India from the point of view like getting placement after course is utmost important, right? We study mostly, we are finance students, we want NPV positive, ROI should be very high. So how do you see the course evolving in next 5 year and industry evolving in next 5 years? And like in case you can give us some insight about why this is happening.
See, I personally feel like AI is at its initial stages at the moment because at its core, whatever little bit I've studied, it's essentially a data oriented field.
Yes.
So the more data it has, the better it will become over time. But I feel within the field of finance, all the work we do, we can divide it into two parts. Like one is menial clerical task, like the models or the calculations and stuff. And then there is more interpretation based task where you're applying your brain. So I feel AI in all the fields, not just in finance, it is going to be helpful in the sense that it will push people to focus on the more intriguing side of things, more mind application. So the basic tasks that we have in finance also, like valuation, calculations, all of that can be automated with the AI models eventually down the line. But that would mean that a qualification like CFA has even more application because CFA is not someone who's just making models and getting a number to you.
Yes.
He's also someone who would be studying the information, understanding the logic behind it. And that logic is something that I feel that AI or any data analysis may not be able to replicate fully.
Okay. So, sir, like one thing that I want to ask regarding this industry and how it is going to shape, what do you think India specifically, how much value CFA as a course hold and how it is going to change in future, like its value is increasing, decreasing. I interact with employers on day-to-day basis. You also connect with a lot of students, employers on day-to-day basis. So how do they see CFA in India, like India specific employers? How do they see it, and what's the value of CFA charter holder in comparison to, let's say, another qualification like FRM, CA, etc.?
I think the value is there, but what students need to realize is that the value is not going to be at the entry point itself. I think a lot of students have this over optimistic view that I do CFA level 1 and that itself is going to put me at a very high stage in terms of employability and stuff. But what we've observed practically is that level 1 essentially is an add-on to your already completed graduation when you're going for jobs and stuff. It's still going to be entry level financial jobs. It's only at level 2 and 3 that you acquire the skills for those more technical roles. For example, if a company wants to hire, let's say, someone who's specializing in fixed income research. We both know now as faculties, level 1 syllabus doesn't cover fixed income in enough depth for you to actually apply the concepts. But level 2 takes it a little more technical. You have more practical model. Like for derivatives also you study Black-Scholes model.
Right.
So I think that clarity is something that students should always have, that level 1 is just your first stage of CFA.
Okay.
So in long term, full CFA charter and then 5 or 6 years of experience, I think that makes the profile very good. So that should be the target rather than trying to see the results early.
Okay, okay. So, sir, since we are talking about L1, L2, L3 comparison, if let's say I have to give a tag, like CA is a course for an accountant, FRM is a course for risk manager, MBA is a course for business administrator, CFA is a course for what kind of work?
Financial experts.
Financial experts. Any specific field within this? Like finance itself is a very
Finance
large.
is, yeah, it's quite vast, but mainly investment research. These related roles. So investment of any kind of security or fund management or research based roles where you're doing valuation, maybe not for investment, but for consultation purposes.
Okay.
So this would be, I think, the domain that suits CFA perfectly.
Okay. Okay. I think I was like going through a couple of mutual fund managers. 80 to 90% of them hold CFA. They might be having first primary qualification. They might be a CA. Some of them were from IIT background. Few of them have done normal BCom from some XYZ college. And CFA is like unanimously like 80-90% of them have done CFA.
Yes.
So I think it's essentially a course on fund management. And now you can invest anywhere you want.
Correct.
All the way from NFT, crypto to gold, silver. Okay, great, sir. Sir, out of all three levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, what do you think, like as per my experience, students find, or just generally what is said among student, L2 is the most difficult one. Do you agree with that? Because I have some contrarian views.
I actually, I have a contradiction, or like I disagree with the word difficult being used in CFA. Because I feel if there is any student who is interested in the markets, like a lot of times students, they ask me, sir, is CFA the course for me? So my simple answer is, if you watch any financial news channel like CNBC or anything, and you feel intrigued, you feel curious that, yes, this is something interesting. At that point, you will not find CFA difficult. You might find some topics or some concepts technical that you'll have to apply your brain first time to understand. But difficult would mean that it is tough to get through. But I don't feel it's tough. More technical the topic, more fun it would be to understand. So I feel like level 2 is technical, but overall I wouldn't call it difficult. Yes.
Okay, great. One question that students keep on asking me, sir, why ethics is taught to us in CFA level 1? We give answers in class mostly because you'll be managing someone else's money.
Yeah.
Then the question arises, why such a high weight of ethics as a subject in L1, L2 and L3 consistently? Like we let go of corporate issuers, we let go of accounts, we let go of economics, and then we say we have highest weightage of ethics.
Yeah.
So like I have discussed this with among other CFA faculties, and they have given me different point of view why ethics CFA. This is just hypothesis that we have created. What is your view? Like why ethics is given? It's a small subject, right? It's entire like 2 to 3 pager code of ethics and standards,
Right.
and maybe we can have 1,000 pages to apply it.
Yeah.
We can get different number of situations. So why do you think ethics is given so much of importance?
I think in any profession, one key element is that all professionals are required to build that professional reputation. I always take an example of a doctor in my class. Let's say you go to a doctor and he gives you some fake medicines and then you get even more sick. So now you won't just be afraid of going to that doctor, you'll generally have a phobia of all doctors.
Yes.
So in profession in general, you always need all professionals to work in a common ethical manner. That is what will build the professional reputation.
Okay.
So we are tied, all of us CFA professionals, we are tied together in that sense. So I think it makes sense that at least CFA, the best they can do is at the study point itself, they focus it so much that everyone is clear on the ethical side.
What should be done and what
Correct.
should not be done. Okay. Anything that you feel is missing from CFA syllabus that should be included?
I think there are a lot of practical elements that generally when students ask for job and stuff also after level 1 or level 2, there are some skills that we ask them that maybe do some certification course or something like that, like financial modeling or any such relevant course. I feel like that is one area where institute can do a little bit better, where they can connect the study part with the practical part. They have taken a step in that direction with the practical skills module. But I feel over there also, the options that they have, they are very diverse. Like at level 1, I think one is machine learning related and one is financial modeling. These are very two different paths. So at level 1 itself, you're asking the student to choose one path, and that creates a big difference.
Yes.
So I feel like those courses should be more like given out as an offer, that you do at least one, the other is accessible to you at all times. So student doesn't need to like worry about how I'm going to acquire those skills.
Yes. Got it. Sir, like in CFA, like level 1, level 2, level 3, the difficulty level or the technicalities, as you said, keeps on increasing. Is there anything that you feel after level 3 a candidate should know during these 3 levels, or like there is one major part that is missing? One is a practical skill, but something that is not covered, some asset class or something that should be covered in lot more depth looking at the current scenario.
I think we can look at a lot of topics in that sense, but I feel from CFA Institute's point of view, as we were discussing, CFA becomes a financial expert, and then you can apply that expertise in diverse areas. So I think CFA Institute is of the opinion that once you acquire this much knowledge of all 3 levels, now whatever you have to learn would be specific to your work profile.
Yes.
Like maybe an equity research analyst would need to apply a lot more models that are not part of the syllabus. I think in a class this week, there was one student who was sharing her practical experience, and she said that we use a model given by Ashwath Damodaran. Now, that is a model which is not there in the syllabus.
Yes.
But it's there in practical usage.
Yes.
So there is an argument that these kind of things can be incorporated, but then the negative side would be if we start thinking about every kind of role that CFA might be doing, at that point syllabus will never end.
Become too vast.
Yeah, so
Yes.
probably like a base level for everyone, and then the expertise is something you get with the job experience.
I think CF Institute have already taken a step in this direction. At L3, they've introduced pathways.
Yeah, pathways.
Because by the time student have reached level 3 or is about to clear level 3, he more or less knows what his interest. Maybe he want to go into portfolio management, private wealth, etc. Okay, sir. Sir, in case you want to start your CFA journey again, is there anything you would have done differently? Any mistake that you would have made you don't want students to make?
In generally, my mistake was that I never gave enough time to CFA
Okay.
while studying.
Okay.
And that is one thing that I always tell students, that 6 months to 9 months. If you study consistently, then CFA is an easy course.
Yes, I
There's
agree.
nothing technical or tricky there. Just consistency is required, because the biggest complaint we find with students who are performing really good in our lectures, in our test sessions, even those students by the end of the batch, the common query they have is that the topic we did first, we're starting to forget it a little bit.
Yes.
So the consistency would make sure you're not forgetting old things. So if I was taking up CFA again, or if I have to give advice to any other students who are taking it, it would be a simple advice. From day one, just stay consistent. Trust me, it will, even before the exam, you won't need to study full day. If you're like studying consistently throughout, it is more than enough.
Okay. So why, like what, because you completed your CA, I think in 2015, right? So
Yeah.
2015, right? So like
No, 2017.
2017. Okay. So like, was there any specific reason, because maybe you're working, teaching schedule? What do you think could be the reasons why you haven't given time? Because I'm asking this question because students will always have this reason: I cannot give time because I'm doing this. He might be he might be free. Still, he have not given the time.
So in general, I would say in all 3 attempts, I had different reason. Level 1, I was studying other things also. So at that point, it was not something I could, like I had, as I said, I had 2 years, but in 2 years, I was never consistent studying regularly. And level 2 and level 3 had job related reasons. At that point, I started with a job, but then it took away quite a lot of time.
Okay.
But fortunately, in both of those cases, I just made sure that at no point in my mind, I didn't let the question appear that should I defer or will I clear or not.
Yes.
I said, I have paid the fees. I will clear the exam,
Yes.
no matter how much I have to study.
Yes, I agree with that. So, like, I also faced this 1 month before exam, 10-20 days before the deferral window opens. Our emails, our etc. is bombarded with,
Yeah.
tell me about how to defer or help me to decide whether I should defer or not. It's not the right question to be asked 10 days before exam. But that's how like CFA Institute's windows work. Okay. Sir, out of like so many career options are available, and within finance also, if you want to make career, so many courses, so many institutes are there. Primarily 3 to 4 courses shine. One is CA, one is MBA from any good college, CFA, FRM. Out of these 4, why you chose CFA? Because like these options were available back in the day, right? For you, maybe CA you already had it, but other, like, why you skipped MBA or FRM and you chose CFA over it?
So I feel like MBA is it's a lot more business administration or like front end kind of a role. It's also like knowledge plus the presentability of everything. In terms of if you see investment banking firms and stuff, they prefer a lot of MBA graduates mainly because they are going to be dealing with clients who are very wealthy and who need that professionalism. So for me, my original ideal job when I started studying was equity research.
Okay.
I was only interested in stock market valuations and stuff. That was my only interest. It's only that when I started teaching, I found that that was more appealing to me than a job.
Okay.
So I switched over. Otherwise, my purpose for starting with CFA was I want to look at equity research as something.
Okay.
So from that point of view, FRM being more risk management focused, that sort of cancelled out. And MBA wasn't really helping me in the specific role I was looking for. If I had been looking at investment banking or some other roles, then I would have looked at MBA.
Okay.
But I think the sort of ideal job I had in mind, I was
equity
happy
research.
with CFA.
Okay. So why you started teaching? Like what? Like this is, I believe, it's a very passion-driven industry.
Yes.
If you don't have passion for it, you will start feeling work as a weight, and maybe in a year or two, I've seen a lot of teachers who give up. They say, sir, I want to go back to my corporate job. Nowadays, I'm seeing a lot of people are feeling the weight of corporate job, and then they say, sir, your life is amazing. You just teach 2 hours a day. I believe you must be free the entire day. And on weekends, you work 8 hours a day. We also work 8 to 10 hours a day. So maybe you are taking 8 to 10 hours of classes, but that's just 2 days out of 7 days. So you must be living a very chill life. So why you chose teaching, and is this true?
Uh, I'll respond to that, but I'd like to share one incident that I am recalling. So when I was studying for CA, I used to attend classes of, I think, cost management from one faculty, Parag sir. I don't know, I don't quite recall the full name. So in his class, he was very chill with the students. So one day, just in the form of joke, I said that he said, if you don't clear the exam, then what? So I said, if we don't clear, then we'll start teaching. Because at that time, when you're going to for CA in like Lakshmi Nagar or any such place,
Yes.
you find every single board that you can see for 1 kilometer is of CA classes.
Yes.
So he was also laughing on that same thing. And after completion, that's the one incident I remember. Whenever someone asks me why you're teaching, the first thing comes to my mind is because maybe the other person is asking me from the same perspective that were you not good in studies that you're now teaching? But I feel in general, when I started doing a job, in 6 months, I realized that that job becomes repetitive. For me, teaching was good because firstly, you're either teaching new topics to the same student or you're teaching the same topic to new students. There's always some change.
Yes.
I'm never teaching the same thing to same student twice.
Yes.
And on top of that, I feel finance is a field where in any sort of teaching, you need examples.
Yes.
In finance, those examples evolve over time.
Yes.
The examples I gave 5 years ago, they are no longer valid now. Post COVID, a lot of things have changed.
Yes.
So those examples that make sure student is understanding, those are all related to what's happening in the real world and stuff.
Yes.
Recently, I think for the past 3-4 weeks, in every lecture, we've discussed the tariffs situation. So I feel like that specifically for finance, I would say that dynamic element of teaching, it is something that I have absolutely loved in all the 6+ years that I've teached now.
Yes. So like my experience also almost on similar lines what you're saying. One is passion for teaching, love doing learning new and new things. So for me, like teaching was mostly learning new things, and I can also deliver it well. That's why I chose teaching. Then I found, okay, I think I love delivering it well. So one thing that I would want to like add on over here is like whatever, if I just give you this and say, sir, open Economic Times, every heading that you see of that news, you can link it to your CFA curriculum.
Yeah.
Every single news.
Correct.
Maybe it's a scandal, you can link to ethics. It's some swings going on in the market, you can link to whatever you have read in the books or maybe economics. Everything can be linked. So like we have done this exercise a lot of time in class. We just open Economic Times and say, okay, we are done with the entire syllabus. Let's try to revise small concepts by going through the news. Great, sir. Sir, one more part specifically that relates to finance as an industry. Currently, like we see that AI is coming and it is changing the way how we are working, and you said it's going to be rather giving us more importance instead of taking away our work. In maybe a couple of years, the AI development part, like right now AI is collecting data, right? Once maybe in 5 to 10 years, 15 years, it will be done collecting the data, then output might enhance extremely good. So if I'm a student, I'm planning my career, I don't just want to be assured about what will happen next 5 to 10 years. Let's say, like, I'll give you one example. Gold and silver used to be new age money when barter system was traditional. Then maybe the dollars and currency paper print that came, and that became new age currency, and gold became traditional currency. Now we have moved to digital UPI, etc. Now we have cryptocurrency, and now this money is called as traditional currency. I think there will be some upgradation happening to cryptocurrency as well. So as a student or as a professional, I'm planning next 30 to 40 years, this is going to be my bread and butter. How do you see over very long term this industry changing? Obviously, anyone don't know for sure what will happen, right? But because we deal with industry, we keep on reading the updates in newspaper. We keep on connecting with the professionals also. So I think we are at the juncture where we have view of student, view of print media or any digital media, view of a working professional, and how academics is involving. How do you think over next, let's say 50 years, not 5 years, over 50 years, if I have to decide, I'm 20, I'll be maybe retiring at 55, 60. So 40, 50 years down the line, will there be anything left for me in this industry? In case yes, how it is going to evolve?
I think the industry in general, first thing anyone who's entering the industry needs to get clear in their head is that this is an industry that will always change. Because if I'm not wrong, we had a similar sort of shift emerging when we started viewing technical analysis. Right, that data could predict the stock price movement. Essentially, technical analysis is the data analysis version of finance.
Yes.
So would it make fundamental study obsolete? But they both found their different places. All right, one is more suitable for a particular class of securities for short term, and the other is more suitable for long term. I think similarly with AI or even whatever advancements happen beyond AI also. I think AI is the one that we are seeing immediately, but another such technology which sort of emerged and now it is gone a little silent is blockchain. Because blockchain's idea was that you don't need any authority or middleman to control everything. Fully transparent system. So if that happens, then everything we've studied in economics, you can throw it out if there's no middleman involved. So there will be a lot of changes, not just next 10 years, next 30, 40 years. But the idea is anyone who is joining the industry, you need to have that curiosity that if something new happens, I'll learn about it. Like when COVID happened, there was a lot of panic in the market. But what we saw actually in the market is next 3 years, we saw tremendous returns.
Right.
Now also, if we take example of the recent tariff announcements were there, then there was a lot of panic. But after, like we say, the dust settles, now everyone has clarity.
Yes.
Like if we take a practical view, tariffs affect primarily two industries in India. There's pharmaceutical and IT.
IT.
So when you realize that only two industries are going to be affected, then maybe tariff were not really impacting us as much as initially the reaction was. So the idea is in finance, take time, understand the information, because no course or no book can prepare you for what will happen.
Yes.
You and I, we didn't know anything about a COVID-like event once in like 100 years or so.
Yes.
In the history of financial market, I think that was the first such event. Whenever that happens, you don't have past data, AI or any other data-driven study would fail. So there is always going to be place for the economic or financial logic. So long as you stick with that and you always expand your knowledge, you always are open to understanding new things, I think it would be fine.
Okay. So do you think quant specific, like the course is going to evolve more towards the quant side of things, and maybe it will start dropping some older stuff? So like maybe like back in the days we used to learn about in CFA also there was M1, M2, M3, M4 concept, right? Many one. Now they've dropped it.
Yes.
So do you think the CFA course, like how the course is going to evolve? Like my personal belief is it's going to be any finance or money related course is now going to be more quant side of thing. Obviously economics and portfolio management, all of them will be working, but at the back end quants will be there. What is your view on that?
I think I would have to agree with that, because whether we like it or not, data has become a central part of how the modern analysis is performed. So yes, there are a lot of traditional concepts which are no longer relevant right now. Like even now when we teach a lot of concepts, there are a lot of theories which have no relevance in the current market.
Yes.
And then we have to then explain to students that why are you studying something which is not relevant. So maybe some of those parts can be removed and some newer additions will be introduced. So that is definitely something that I am also expecting, because if CFA Institute decided to introduce ideas like big data or machine learning in level 1 and level 2, so we are expecting some change there, because in all this introduction of these topics, one topic that they removed, which I was surprised, was technical analysis. So, and that is if you view practically, technical analysis is probably the field that AI would be able to replicate first and foremost.
Yes.
So in that sense, when I see the view, I feel like they essentially did the right thing. Like at this point, if someone wanted to just study markets, let's not even CFA course, someone wanted to do a small certification in markets, instead of technical analysis, some AI or data analysis or some machine learning model, I think that would pretty much suffice.
Yes.
So in that sense, I think we will see a little bit more involvement of quants and statistics or that side. But I also feel the machine learning side of things, institute is probably going to stick with the theory only, not like us becoming coders or programmers,
Yes.
but more like having an understanding.
Yes, I think that's why they introduced
Yeah.
Python
Yeah.
PMS as well. Sir, like one more follow-up question on this. Like as quant syllabus, we have seen over the years evolving. Technical analysis, multiple topics are being dropped off from the syllabus. Syllabus right now, like they've also introduced prerequisite for couple of topics, quants, economics, and then they've segregated the course. Essentially, over the period, what do you think? CFA as a curriculum, I'm using the word difficulty intentionally. Have it from a student's point of view, in general, have it become easier for a student to pass CFA level exam, or have it become difficult? Let's say over last 10 years, the difficulty level of exams have gone up or gone down.
I would say the exam difficulty has probably gone down, but the preparation has become a little tricky. Because in our time, whatever we studied in the book was testable in the exam. So we never had to bother whether this is in syllabus or out of syllabus. We had that clarity. I think now with the three topics that we see, FSA, economics and quants, having prerequisites and core, I think these three topics have become confusing for the student, not because the topic is tough, but because there is always the question mark whether this, what we are discussing, is testable in the exam or not. I'll take a very simple example, the time value of money. The basics that we used to cover. Technically, they are not there in the syllabus anymore. But you can't teach anything in CFA without those.
Yes.
Earlier, I think quant's weightage was high, time value of money was testable. It used to be something that student was studying first two lectures. And he was also getting confidence that yes, these kind of questions I can solve. And in the exam also these will appear. Now the confidence student builds in the first couple of lectures. At the end, I tell them, okay, this was just base. This is not testable in the exam. So then he feels, why were we spending so much time in this?
Yes.
So I think in the preparation side of things, a little bit of like confusion has emerged due to this prerequisites and core. But in terms of exam, like, of course, if the syllabus which is testable in the exam has been shrunk down, I think it is making for an easier exam.
Yes, yes. One thing that I feel, since we are discussing what add-ons could be done to syllabus, one thing that I feel the GARP, FRM Institute, Global Association of Risk Professional, every year they introduce around 10 readings on current issues. Whatever is discussed in the entire syllabus in part 1, part 2, you say, okay, these are the implications of all this in 10. So there could be a module, like very easy questions are asked from that current issues part. But I believe making it more relevant, like I was going through someone LinkedIn post, in CFA level 3 books, the Shark Tank Anupam Mittal, his example is given. So like they're picking up data from Indian markets as well. So one step that I think they can do is adding current issues. Like don't put it like UPSC exam, but like what is the implication of whatever you have learned? Okay. Sir, one more question that I have around the syllabus as well. We have seen syllabus evolving. We have seen subjects being added, dropped off, and like they have divided the curriculum into two parts. Now, as a teacher, what do you think over the last, say, pre-COVID and post-COVID about the quality of students, how it have evolved?
I think like as a faculty, I've seen a marked change there. And that change was very drastic in the first couple of years after COVID.
21, 22.
Yes. Now, slowly we are seeing back to the same standards because in the sense, I think post-COVID 1 or 2 years, probably 21, 22, even till some part of 23, there was, I would say, a little inconsistency in terms of how much effort students are putting in the topic or in the course. Like earlier, before COVID, I felt like students had this seriousness that this is at the end of the day a professional course. That seriousness I felt dropped a little bit post COVID.
Okay.
Few years.
Okay.
And I think that is where the deferment option started emerging. So institute also decided to, I would say, cash in on the anxiety of students. So whether it was COVID, lockdown, whatever factors, but I felt like those 2-3 years were tough for the students because there were a lot of external factors also.
Yes.
But now I think we are seeing that resumption of normalcy in the same course. So I feel now again we are getting consistent, hardworking students in general taking the course seriously.
Right, I agree with you. I'll agree with you. The quality degraded, and then now it's back to normal. But one thing that I've noticed, I never ask student or recommend them to defer for the exam.
Yeah.
Plan properly and then give exam. But still, right now, I'll say a lot more students are deferring the exam in comparison to maybe, let's say, 2019 and before.
Yes.
Okay, so like student quality we have covered curriculum quality, how it is going to evolve. How do you think as a teacher we should evolve over next 5 years? We try to bring in more and more practical examples, but is there anything that we can do? What do you think that, like, very honestly, what we lack? Like as an institute, I know where QuintEdge lacks, where we can make it better. But in case someone raises a request, structure around it cannot be raised overnight, right? Yeah. And there is a cost involved. You're doing a business. You have to understand all the economics and then implement. Maybe some solution is brilliant, but economically it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Right? So as a teacher, how we should evolve so that we can cater these students better?
I think not just CFA, any finance teacher, like the more you're able to connect with real world, the more fun the topic becomes for a student. Because I know from experience, when we teach FSA, earlier I used to teach FSA. Now I would change the word. Now we study annual report of company, and in bits and pieces in between, we study FSA.
Learn about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So mostly now what happens is, once we are done with that entire topic, we take up a new company. Throughout the topic, I take, let's say, Reliance Industries or something. And what happens in that process is, when we are studying topic like inventory, students of non-commerce background especially, they start to feel afraid that what is going on. But at the end, when you show them everything you've studied in Reliance Industries' actual annual report, it's half a page. Only half a page of disclosure. An institute wants you to make sense of that half page. That's their only intention of why you're studying.
Yes.
At that point, students feels, okay, it's only this much.
Okay.
So I feel the more you start connecting a topic with the real world, the more fun it becomes for the student. And at the end of the day, the more fun student is having while learning, I think more successful the learning would be for them.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Sir, one more question from students' point of view. Many students come from very diverse background. Like think last Thursday or Friday, someone called me and said, I work on ships and we carry oils. So like I'm having some job over there.
All right.
Now I want to move away from this job because like for months and months I'm away from my family. I want to move to some other career, but it's a very rewarding job. So I cannot take that salary cut. And I'm looking for courses, and I found CFA to be the highest paying, lowest effort in terms of time. Like in 2 years, I'll be able to complete it. So I want to understand how a person coming from extremely different background, he even don't know F of finance, right? He's not connected to accounts, economics. He's just curious to learn. Is CFA really technical, difficult for him? And in case it is, initially students have that hesitation, how he can overcome it?
I think overall, in this regard, I would have to praise CFA Institute, because as someone who has gone through CA, I'm also occasionally like I prepare for actuary exams and stuff. Out of all these professional bodies, I think CFA has achieved something really good, that they've made the syllabus approachable for everyone. When I talk about actuary, just for a reference point, even when I started doing it, the first requirement that the institute told me is you need to be good with calculus and mathematics. And I had maths till 12th class, but in 2 years gap, you forget differentiation, integration.
Yes.
So that becomes a big hurdle to enter. So CFA doesn't have any of that.
Okay.
In that sense, the syllabus and the curriculum has been designed to make it approachable. And beyond that, the next responsibility is, I think, falling on the faculties. That for us also, we start with ethics.
Yes.
To like have a topic which is new for everyone, that gets them comfortable, and then start slowly and slowly building onto topics which are more technical, finance oriented. So it is approachable, but I think it would be false to say that it is level playing field for both students, because at the end of the day, a commerce student who's studied accountancy, business studies for 2 years, you can't expect a non-commerce student to match that level of understanding of basic terms right away.
Yes.
So that little bit of effort will be required, but it is doable, much more doable than in any other professional course.
Okay. Let's say an engineer is coming and he's saying, sir, I am not a really good engineer. I want to be expert into field of finance. I chose CFA, but I see so many different subjects. Only comfortable area here is quants, because maybe I've given some entrance exam. We studied maths in such a detail that this feels like a cakewalk to us.
Yeah.
So like can engineer be on par for subjects like FSA, economics, in comparison to, let's say, a person who have done BCom from good college? Is there any advantage engineers having over an commerce graduate, and what are the advantages commerce graduate have over engineers?
In general, I would say most of the syllabus, at least if we take level 1, it is more introductory. So there is a little bit of advantage to commerce students in the sense that basic terminology and stuff, they don't need to understand it from scratch. Like to a commerce student, if I talk about income statement, balance sheet, or financial reporting, they have an idea what that term means. But for a non-commerce student, it's entirely fresh. So there are some topics where an engineering background student will also have an advantage. I would say fixed income or derivatives, quants. These are topics because in India specifically, our financial market is equity dominated.
Yes.
So for our students, I would say fixed income is a tough topic. The same may not be true for US students, because for them, bond market is the dominant market. So I think there is also that gap that for some students, irrespective of educational background, just based on what markets you have experienced growing up, there would be a gap. So it's just that that gap can be covered with a little bit of effort.
Okay. So talking about like moving to another gap, like we notice is student might be doing really good academically, but he might fail miserably on the first day of the job, right? So any skill that you will recommend along with CFA program? I have got almost 2 to 3 years to acquire that skill, and then maybe I'll start looking for job. So any skill other than whatever is being taught in book to acquire along with CFA program that will help me to achieve that e to the power x career, the non-linear career growth.
So in general, if let's say you're planning for a career in equity side of things or fund management side of things, then probably financial modeling would be the first thing to start with. And not just the basic certifications, but if possible, some advanced certifications also. And those advanced ones, at this point online, there are infinite number of sources. So that would be one course that I would recommend. In case of fixed income or derivatives segment, if you're looking for jobs over there, then maybe very basic understanding of R or Python. Because sometimes companies, especially because in derivatives and fixed income segment, we have US based companies. The role or the job may be in India, but you'll be working as per US market. And over there, the trend is more for R or Python language being used for data analysis. So being comfortable with that would be one skill that I would recommend. So based on like which kind of job you're going for, you can then prioritize these skills, and then in these itself you can go for more advanced levels.
How much time will it take me to, I won't say master, but just being proficient with maybe financial modeling? How much time I should invest? Because I have to study as well. And then you are saying, sir, out of syllabus also you have to learn something else. So how much time I should devote? And when is the right time? Like while preparing for L1, L2, when is the right time to acquire all these skills?
If you have time, then you can do it along with the course also. But sometimes for L1 especially, we see that majority of the candidates are college going students. They also have to manage college studies and stuff. So maybe the transition phase you get if you're a college student, that placement is done, and then I have 3 months or so in final year where I have a little less stress. So at that point, you can go for these courses. If you're in the job, then maybe use some online self-paced course to stretch it over maybe 3 months, 4 months.
Okay.
So that structure can be altered. Generally, I would say 2 to 3 months is where it would take time.
Can't we master financial modeling in 3 hours? I've seen ads.
You can, but then that would be the financial modeling which will give you confidence. And then in the job interview and technical round, you will see that confidence bubble burst.
Yes. So just I think introduction to a subject might take more than 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like first chapter also you cannot complete. So 3 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours can't be
CFA
mastered.
mind maps that we do take 10 hours.
Yes,
So
exactly.
any course being done in 3 hours, that is, no, I wouldn't buy that.
Yes, I agree with you, sir. Sir, on the closing note, anything that you would want to tell a student who is planning to give CFA, and like how at QuintEdge we can help them in making their journey better? Like you have worked with so many institutes, you have worked with QuintEdge and so many other institutes. What do you find different about QuintEdge? It could be positive, negative, you can share both. What do you find different about QuintEdge in comparison to other institutes, and like a motivation for the other candidate who is planning to join CFA as a program, not QuintEdge, but CFA as a program?
I think firstly, like what sets QuintEdge apart would be simply the team that you guys have. I was quite impressed when I started teaching here that there was a full-fledged LMS with the question banks, test series, everything. And all of that accessible to student at their own pace. And on top of that, we have classes, we have doubt sessions and stuff. So it creates a ecosystem for the student. Like mostly what happens is that, okay, you buy in, you have lectures, and occasionally, if the time allows, faculty will take some doubts. But to have an entire ecosystem that is supporting you, not just for the classes, but even in your self-study, I think that is one very big plus point that even I as faculty, I feel very relieved on that side of things, because very few students reach out to me for doubts because they get their doubts resolved organically via the entire system. So that is one benefit that students also have, because they get a full team to support them. It's not just a faculty, but it's rather an entire team that is supporting them. And for student also, I would say I think there are both options, self-paced courses there, live courses there. So I think that flexibility is something that is very good, because as we were discussing, for commerce student, maybe someone who's done MBA or CA, for them, they might not be interested in a full-fledged live course again. So they have the option of a self-paced course.
Yes.
So that flexibility is, I think, the biggest USP.
Yes. And sir, let's say I'm a student who is planning to join CFA program. I'm not very sure. Can you give me a clear guidance, motivation? I know it's good for me. I'm not very sure whether I should pursue it right now, or there are so many courses available. So I have to explain to a student why you should do CFA. Like from any institute, it's up to them, but why you should do CFA, how it is going to help them to into making a very bright career into finance. Like why CFA?
See, I would say 3 answers are possible there. First is a more practical answer that I used to give, and now also I give to a few students, that on any given day, 1 hour around the opening time of the stock market, just open up CNBC or any other financial news channel. If you find that 1 hour interesting, then CFA is the course for you.
Okay.
Then that is answer right there, that you are enjoying what the financial world has to offer. The other alternative is, of course, everything we've discussed: career opportunities, job opportunities, and long term. See, finance is a field where you're not going to get results immediately. You're not going to see CFA level 1, 40 lakhs package. That doesn't happen in finance. But I have seen around with the students also that the growth you get in finance will be much faster than you get in any other field.
100%.
The experience and growth together give you much more opportunities over a longer period of time. It's like stock markets: invest for long term. So it's the same thing: invest in career for a long term perspective.
Yes. 15% CAGR over 1 year doesn't
Yes,
matter, but over
correct.
20 years, it's like huge sum of
Exactly.
money.
Third reason that I give to students why CFA, and this is a reason I mostly give to any student who's from non-commerce background, whose first question is, I already have a job. Is it worth it to now switch? Or I say, even if you're not switching, for your entire life, you'll know how to manage your investments.
Yes.
When you see that, I would say even with the increased price of CFA and everything over the last 4-5, it is still well worth it.
100%.
If you can manage your own financial portfolio, your own investments for the rest of your life, you can manage your own pension. More than enough.
Yes.
That is as big an ROI as you can get.
The amount of money that you're going to save by not giving the 1% of management fees, that is like of your entire net worth. I think CFA fees is far smaller than that.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, sir. That's it for today.